The BBC has put up a quite lengthy story about a man called Scorpion, who's an Iraqi Kurd who was sentenced in absentia in Belgium. And, it gives the impression, this fellow called Majeed, it gives the impression that this is a positive. It is a positive in a very small way. But for one Scorpion, there are many others ready to slip into his shoes, and he's not stopped. He's simply got a price on his head, that's all. And he's simply been identified and photographed. Now, the question is, how did he start? He started by coming to the UK, by being smuggled himself, by living in Nottingham, by working odd jobs, cleaning cars and so on. And that was the only business, the only real business that he knew. So that was what he put to use when he went back and worked in the smuggling centres of Eastern Europe, in Turkey, in Kurdistan, and probably in Greece, in the south of Italy, and possibly, I don't know in his case whether he got to North Africa. But certainly those routes are very clear and have been clear for 20 years, more than 20 years, in fact. I knew about these routes in 2020 through to 2024. I knew about these routes personally. And I knew exactly the various techniques which smugglers use to get people across borders. Nothing of this is new. And it may be new because the BBC is now reporting it. But this is the fundamental problem with the approach being taken by the present government, and also the approach that is now being presented by Sir Keir Starmer. It's a piecemeal thing. Without a Pied Piper, even targeting the smugglers, which is what we should be targeting, certainly not targeting the victims, we're only going to skim the surface. And so many of those victims, this is all they know. Targeting the smugglers needs to be accompanied by a serious educational process, which is not only based in the UK, but also European-wide. Without a European involvement in a procedure to stop the smuggling, it will not work. I think it needs to go even further than a European involvement. I think we need a global initiative. Part of that initiative is to review the basis on which asylum is granted in the first place, the 1951 Refugee Convention. Then we need to go further, and we need to make sure that we are putting out a very clear signal that smuggling is wrong. Now, how do we do that? By providing the opportunity for people to register for asylum outside our countries, outside Britain, outside Europe. Once we do that, the smuggling gangs are automatically destroyed. It's then a matter of getting people from their original location to the new country and working out how that is processed. Whether that also is accompanied by a refusal to accept people who make their own way across the various borders is another matter. That's for the international negotiation, and that might involve some sort of punishment. I hope not. Much better to have an effective deterrent. An effective deterrent would be something that stops the smugglers and gives opportunity to the victims. That would be consular access at the borders of Europe, at the borders of Africa, at the borders of Turkey. And that would change everything. And it's essentially a bureaucratic change. So it doesn't really mean a huge amount of investment. Certainly it would be cheaper than the Rwanda scheme. But I fear the Rwanda scheme will cost a huge amount to wrap up. The present government has committed a lot of money and has committed its successors to paying a lot of money to sort out the mess it has created. This is an abhorrent abuse of government power, and it needs to be condemned very formally and very clearly by an incoming government.